Third in the Golden Slipper, Nashua Willa, John Thompson.
What an outstanding effort to do what he's done. You know, the skyline straight to the slipper, straight to the size here. His third start, he's well drawn. You know, he's testing 1,400 metres for him here today, but I don't think I'm giving him a tick. I think he'll run it.
He has definitely taken quite a bit of improvement from that slipper run, and just looking at him as far as his manners are concerned in the yard. I remember his first ever appearance here, he had his eyes popping out of his head. Now he knows exactly what he's here to do. He's got his back right down, and he's a consummate professional. So he is definitely going to have a great chance the way the race will pan out for him, and his looks and his condition are tip-top.
Number 2 is Larimer Street, Trent Bussett and Natalie Young, Glenn Boss in the saddle.
Yeah, I think he's a promising horse on the rise. He's a tough customer. He was unlucky in the Heavy and the Millennium. 2 runs since have been great. He won't be far away.
Yeah, he looks in great order. He is a tough contender. He's got plenty of quality written all over him. He has been marching around here with a bit of purpose, and he certainly looks as though he's going to run right up to his looks.
Prague, number 3, Brenton Avdulla rides for Kieran Maher and David Eustace.
Well, talk about toughness. He's stood the test of time all the way through this prep. He stuck on well on the slipper after a wide run. Impressive Pago prior at this, and he's got form at this track. So I don't know, just interested in the yard report just to see if he's got another peak performance left in him.
Yeah, look, I don't think he's gone backwards, Ronnie. I wouldn't say, you know, he's got another peak performance in him, that he's going to get better, but I have to say that he certainly has maintained his condition. And I guess the factor that I love about him is that he's just so tough. He's got a great attitude, he's really genuine, and he just strikes me as a horse that seems to try every single time. So I'm not going to knock him at all today. I don't know if there's a peak performance in him, but there's certainly another good performance.
The first of 3 Snowden runners is King's Legacy, Hugh Bowman.
Winkers off. He definitely has more upside than most. Mid-race sectionals there in the slipper were good. Yeah, I'm really respecting him. I mean, he just held a couple of these 2-year-olds off for these later races, and this is one of them.
Yeah, well, talking about peak performances, he certainly has a peak performance in him, because we've only seen him one time this preparation. Obviously, he's taken a fair bit of improvement from the slipper. He looks as though he's tightened up nicely through that midsection. He's very settled and relaxed, and he's heading in the right direction.
Glenn Fiddick, number 5, Adam Hieronymus on for Robbie Griffiths.
Easy win at 1,500 at Mornington, which toughens him up well for a race like this. So I'm just not sure with him on the soft. He's never been on a soft track.
Lovely, big, strong, robust type. This is my first time having a look at him, and he parades as well as expected when you're fronting up for a Group 1. He's got a great coat on him. He's beautifully relaxed, and if his looks are anything to go by, he's going to run a nice race.
AIM, number 7, Kieran McAvoy on for Peter and Paul Snowden.
Yeah, he's been set for this. He's been crying out for 1,400. I just don't know about him on a wet track. I would have been really confident about him in the dry, to tell you the truth.
He looks, each run I've seen him at, as though he wants further and further, and he gets that today. He's turned out perfectly.
Now to Ole Kirk, number 8, for Team Hawks and Tommy Berry.
It was a beautiful trial since unlucky in the Sires. He might be hard to hold out. He's fresh blood here.
Yeah, he's got a peak performance in him, and it definitely would have to be today in comparison to his last couple of runs.
Bartley, number 9, Peter and Paul Snowden, J-Mac.
Yeah, he was good in the Black Opal first up. The stable has a good opinion of him. This is the horse they wanted to get in the slipper, and they didn't. So just whether he's ready for this 1,400.
Yeah, I didn't get the opportunity to have a look at him first up into the campaign, but having a look at the way he walked around, and now here he's heading out down through the tunnel, he looked as though he is certainly primed to perfection. He's obviously a horse that has a very bright future, and they have a big opinion of him, considering that they wanted to get him into the slipper. But look, I couldn't knock him on his appearance. He certainly looks as good as he's ever looked.
OK, they're going it pretty quickly here through the tunnel. Next one is number 11, Mission River, who we'll get a good shot of in a moment. Gerald Ryan and Robbie Dole, and Mission River about to appear out of the tunnel.
Yes, he's got a crossover noseband, a lugging bit on, 5 weeks in a trial since the Skyline. Awkward draw makes it tough for him, I would have thought.
Yeah, absolutely, with all of his form and sort of awkward draw, but as far as looks are concerned, he hasn't gone backwards.
OK, here's Pioneer River, same colours, but wearing the yellow hat. Number 12, Opie Bosson for Hayes and Dabney.
I thought he was okay hitting the line well behind Larimer Street at Moonee Valley. The bigger track will definitely suit him, and looking at $61, I think it's quite appealing for anyone that likes him.
Yeah, look, he's a lovely, big, strong, robust character, and look at that fantastic coat on him. So he certainly doesn't look out of place in this type of field.
Cultural amnesia. Gerald Ryan, Tim Clark.
Big raps on this fella out of the midweeks. He was good wet track experience. He was good winning his maiden, beating Rock My Wand, who's Frank's the form. And, short enough now, but certainly a lot of people like him.
Yeah, I like him. I saw him at the midweeks when he won really very, very well on the Kensington track, and he seems to have probably taken quite a bit of improvement from that performance. So he's really tightened up through his midsection. He started to get some decent muscle definition, and I think you're going to have to be really fit and tough to handle these conditions today. It's a testing track out there, and he ticks a lot of boxes.
And 15 dismissal, Rachel King for Gary Portelli.
Yeah, made good ground in the Magic Night. Just not convinced that it was a strong Magic Night this year.
Yeah, very well turned out, and but probably there's a few more I would have in front of this fillet.
OK, I told the camera crew find the windiest spot on the course to do all our interviews today, and boy, they've done that job well. Annabelle Neesham, a couple of runners still to come today for the stable. Prague lining up for start number 6. What a tough horse he is.
Yeah, he's a really tough horse. Came through the slipper in really good order. This race has always been the plan. Sort of ever since that first win at Canterbury, we really labelled him as a Sires horse. I think the step up to the 1400 will really suit. A little bit of a tricky barrier to negotiate, but hopefully Brenton's the right man on board to get the job done.
Gee, that's interesting when he's been through so many big races that this is the aim.
Yeah, exactly. He sort of sharpened up after that first run, so hence why we then went to the slipper. And I think his run had plenty of merit there. He was wide for much of the way, but he wasn't too far off them when you look at how much extra ground he covered. So look, hopefully today we're not going to be in that same position. Hopefully we can have a slightly more economical run, but we'll probably be positive away. He likes to be just in a nice rhythm where he's comfortable, and hopefully he's too strong for them late.
And then you've got Loving Gabby going around in the TJ Smith. She's looking for a third Group 1 this season. Another one. Tough as nails and just gives her all.
Yeah, she's an outstanding filly. She looks amazing, and she's obviously coming off the back of a very strong win. So we're under no illusions. This is an amazing field. Sort of all the top sprinters really have come together today. And again, we've got a tricky barrier to negotiate. But it's a shame Craig can't ride her today. But hopefully, Bossy's a great big race rider, and hopefully he can get the job done today.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks, Annabelle. Annabelle Neesham.
Prague on top for the Sires Produce Stakes. I have to go with him. He looked absolutely fantastic in the yard, and he's a horse that I would have definitely put into my numbers based on the way that he walked around today. Obviously, he is a horse that I still feel has a peak performance in him, not improvement-wise, but just the fact that he's maintained his condition. Mama Reagan is just a professional. He paraded as well as I've expected him to parade, probably much more relaxed and settled this time around, so that's very important for him stepping up to the 1400 metres. And Ole Kirk is the other horse that I would put into my numbers based on the way that he was walking around today.
1, 2, 7, 8 for me. I'm with Mama Reagan here. I just like the Golden Slipper form. He only has to hold that. He's got to hold his position, run the 1400 out. Obviously, we're working in uncharted territory with a lot of these 2-year-olds winning a heavy track, but he just looks the ultimate professional, and he seems to have enjoyed his racing at his 2 starts. 2 Larimer Street. Now, he's tough. We know he'll handle a heavy track, and he's big odds here at $16, so I'm including him. 7 Aim, I wish it was a bit drier for him, but I love target races for horses, and this has been his target all the way through. And Ole Kirk, he's certainly is fresh blood here. He is an improver, and he should have just about won the Sires last time in Melbourne, and his recent trial was terrific. 1, 2, 7 and 8, Glenn.
3 horses hard in the market here in single figures. Mama Reagan, who was into 280 this morning, and it's really sat around that mark the majority of the day and still sitting there over equal picks. Numbers 3 and 8. Prague. A best of 6, now $5.50, and Ole Kirk also a best of 6 today, now $5.50. Ole Kirk's easily the most popular runner. 50% more on Ole Kirk today than Mama Reagan. Cultural Amnesia was the big firm from morning to preview time. 15 all the way into $9.50, just back out to 10. AIM has gone single figures out to 14, now 13. Larimer Street just out a tick, 13 to 14. Bartley's been easy, 12 out to 19. It's stablemate King's Legacy, 14, got to as much as 21, now 19. Glenfiddich, 26 into 19, back to 26, and 50s and longer, the other three runners there. Mamaragan to run favourite here in the Inglis Sires. And Greg, after that, Raheen House, $15 into $8 for the Sydney Cup, and doesn't get a penalty.
No, penalty-free, exemption-free to get into the Sydney Cup next week. Loading up for the Sires. Hello to all the owners who are spread right around the nation, tuning in to watch their horses go round into the Sires. The majority are at home. Neil Werrett, though, is in lockdown in a Sydney hotel after arriving back from overseas. He's doing his mandatory 14 days at a Sydney hotel. The next-door neighbours in the hotel will hear it if Ole Kirk looms up here in the Sires. It's a great renewal for a Group 1 2-year-old over 1,400 metres. Let's get to Darren Flindell for the call.
So this is Mission River with the red hat going in. Pioneer River has the yellow hat, red blinkers. We wait on Glenfiddich, Prague and the Aquas jacket going forward. And Larimer Street will be one of the last to go forward. So the first of our Group 1s, the Inglis Sires over 1,400 metres. Mama Reagan, an outstanding run on the slipper. In the third position is a very firm favourite here. Glenfiddich just buzzing up behind the gates. Adam Hieronymus out of the saddle. And the colt being loaded in riderless, the Victorian. So Glenfiddich goes in. And we wait now on Prague and Larimer Street. Larimer Street, a last start winner at the Valley, and was most unlucky in the English Millennium on very heavy ground at Warwick Farm. So Larimer Street goes in, and Prague, drawn the outside now, is the last to move in. And we're ready now for the first of our Group 1s, the Inglis Sires, 1,400 metres, and they're off, and Prague jumped well. So did Cultural Amnesia being sent forward, but there's plenty really pushing forward at this point. It's Cultural Amnesia just in front. Prague is there with it. Bartley in the white hat goes to third, followed by Glenfiddich, and Larimer Street drops into fourth in the early stages. They're followed further back then in a pretty wide position to Pioneer River. Up on the outside of AIM, and Mama Reagan, the favourite, is back worse than midfield in the pink jacket, just being steadied there. Two further back to Ole Kirk, who's taken a spot down on the rails. Firing up badly back in the field is Mission River, and back last of all is King's Legacy. Dismissal is third last. Cultural Amnesia shows the way. Out by 3/4 to Prague, and the pace looks to be good. A couple off to Glenfiddich from Bartley, the outsider. Further back to Pioneer River in the yellow hat, followed by AIM back on the rails. Larimer Street tucked in between them. Boy, Mama Reagan's got shuffled back and pulling to the outside, but would be the best part of 8 off the lead. Cultural Amnesia swings in front of Prague, is making a real race of it now, and Prague went up to head off Cultural Amnesia. 5 lengths away to King's Legacy running on. Then came AIM. Ole Kirk gives away a big start, 6 or 7 off them. Mama Reagan is finishing well now, but Prague is 3 lengths clear. King's Legacy is really starting to surge. King's Legacy a length away, draws level with Prague. King's Legacy wins the Inglis Sires. Strong finish. Got up to beat Prague, and Mama Reagan home to third, just in front of Ole Kirk. Gap back to AIM. Then came Glenfiddich. Further back to Pioneer River from Mission River in the red hat. From Larimer Street. Then came Dismissal. Cultural Amnesia drifted right out, and so did Bartley. King's Legacy.
What a finish to our first Group 1 of the day. King's Legacy, number 4, ridden by Hugh Bowman for Peter and Paul Snowden. It gives Peter and Paul together their third win in this race. Peter had won 4. It's been a great race for the Snowdens. King's Legacy overpowering Prague, who dashed away with that big lead. Couldn't hold off King's Legacy. 4. King's Legacy beats 3 Prague. 1 Mama Reagan will get third, just in front of number 8, Ole Kirk.
Yeah, look, geez, they've talked this horse up all the way through King's Legacy, a masterstroke. They've used a golden slipper as a lead up to a Sires, but it's worked, and he knuckle down and stretch out. He may have got to the front a little bit quick there. Prague, his effort was good, making a long sustained run. I don't know what happened to that favourite. What happened there? He drew an inside barrier. He was worse than we'd ever thought in the run, and finds himself right out wide. So legitimate excuses, I reckon, there for Mama Reagan. He lost his advantage of that good draw.
4, 3, 1 and 8 are the numbers in the frame. 4, 3, 1 and 8. After the running of the Sires, King's Legacy, number 4, Hugh Bowman for Peter and Paul Snowden, and that horse is coming back right now. Paul Snowden, congratulations, another win. This has been a great race to you and your dad.
Yeah, for sure. Very pleasing, obviously, on so many levels. It was expensive yearly, and now he's obviously gone on and he's a Group 1 winner, but just the fact that, we gave him that time after the Magic Millions and we got a berth into the slipper, again off the back of some money that we earned previously, and I thought he was a pass mark. It's not his, his preferred ground, this sort of doughy going, and obviously Rose Hill was very tired on that day, and I thought he did quite well. His runner just ended inside the last furlong, but what he's done the next day, going in to see him, he's just happy as Larry and bouncing off the walls. This horse hasn't taken anything out of him. He's only going to get better up to 7 furlongs, and hopefully in a couple of weeks you'll see him in a mile even better. So good to have Huey on. He chose the right horse.
You'd like to think that heading into that mile you can see the same sort of progression with this horse eating his feed and bouncing around the stable.
Yeah, look, and that's the constitution that he shows right from day one. He's been one of those early 2-year-old types that's up and running before Christmas and carried his form all the way through, so I don't see why not, and hopefully we can continue racing, obviously.
Well, it's been a big campaign. He's had a trip away and back home again.
And that's probably what helps him with that constitution. He's had that trip away, that toughness, hard racing, and just that attitude that go with it. That's what certainly helps.
Congratulations.
Thanks very much.
Well done.